like Art Garfunkel there, but we are talking to Paul Simon, I promise. Now, did you get up early for it? Did you set your alarm for 6:15, fire up the PC and wait for starters' orders? Because at 6 o'clock precisely this morning, the race began, once again, for those of us wanting to buy tickets for the London Olympics. In the race at this stage, the 1.2 million people who didn't get any the first time round. But even though the most popular events had already sold out, there was still frustration for punters as the ticketing website struggled to cope with demand. Nick Thatcher reports.
It had been dubbed a frantic Friday, with 2.3 million tickets up for grabs on a first-come, first-served basis. And the race was on to buy them from the moment the starting pistol was fired at 6 this morning.
We already had the list of the events we wanted. We ticked through. By 2 minutes past, we're at the final screen. Everything's getting very exciting. And then the site seemed to crash, and it kept crashing, and so we had this wait of probably 18 to 20 minutes, and finally we clicked through, jubilant scenes. We're actually, finally going to the games now, which, we'd worried about for so long, so we're delighted.
But for many, the obstacles thrown up by the overloaded system proved to be too much. Some of you telling us online of your frustration and anger.
Very disappointed about not getting tickets for the second time. I can see Greenwich Park from my window.
No joy second time either. Can't believe how awful the system is.
Spent an hour clicking refresh or back on my browser and just gave up. Not happy.
The whole thing is just a ridiculous con, and I'm extremely angry at the absolute fiasco this has turned out to be, especially as a London taxpayer.
Well, it's now the middle of the afternoon, and a quick look at the website tells me that there are only a few sports for which there are tickets still available, and those include football, wrestling and women's weightlifting. Deb Cooper from Surrey didn't even bother trying to get tickets today. She's still unhappy she lost out in the first ballot when the more popular sports sold out.
I think there's an awful lot of overpriced tickets available to a lot of events that I'm really not interested in, neither of my family.
I absolutely understand why people feel very upset and frustrated by it all. However, the bottom line is that we had over 20 million applications for just over 5 million tickets, and that of course is across the whole piece. Within that, there are some events that are massively more popular than others. I know it's frustrating, but there is, I'm afraid, only a limited number of tickets.
One of the criticisms of many past Olympics is empty seats in stadiums, which isn't great for the athletes competing, and it certainly isn't great for the atmosphere in the stadium. So I think one thing that will be achieved here by creating this rush today for tickets is that those tickets will be purchased, will have full stadiums and hopefully great events.
And for those who've lost out again in this second round, there's still a chance of third time lucky. An estimated million-plus tickets are expected to become available from the end of the year. Nick Thatcher, London Tonight.
2 more men have been arrested in connection